So on this episode of Rock Ape How-Tos, I'm going to show you guys how to create your own custom C-notch for your projects, maybe your pickups, usually pickups. When you do a flip and you put the axle on top of the leaf springs and you gain a 6 or 7 inch drop, all of a sudden your axle's crashing into your frame rail. So, you can buy these kits that bolt on. I couldn't do that because my axle is moved back 1.25 inches, stretching the wheelbase to get the wheel to fit just right in the fender well opening, which some of you 67 to 72 guys will pick right out when you see other people's trucks when they're really low, that it pulls the wheel to the front and it doesn't look right or just isn't centered. And a lot of guys wish that they had gone to the trouble of doing that. So knowing that before I built this, I made sure to fix it in the rear as well as the front. So this is just a how-to video. You guys can use it on anything you're C-notching. Mine, I just couldn't buy a kit without even having to modify the kit. And since most of this job is the same job when you buy a kit, I figured I'd show you guys a couple little quick, easy how-tos to do your own, save a few bucks, and have something that's custom in yours, that you didn't pay somebody or pay for to do. So. First step in this process is obviously making a cardboard template. I just went into the art store and bought some of this art board. It's like cardboard, but it's a bit thinner. It's not double corrugated. It's a lot easier to work with. Cuts real easy with scissors. And then measured out where I wanted to be. So I found my center of where my axle had contacted my chassis a few times when I had 3 or 4 people in the back cruising around last summer. And once I found the center, I just measured off 3 inches on each side, tapered it to 4.5, and then gave myself what I thought was a good ratio of what I could cut away and what I would keep. You don't want to cut this too thin, or you might risk having an issue. And a lot of guys are scared to do this because they think their frames are going to bend. But I can tell you, I had a '97 GMC that I did this to. They got rear-ended really hard on the freeway, bad enough that it buckled the bed of the pickup on the bed floor, and it didn't bend the frame. And so that tells me that these are safe. You're not, if anything, I won't say you're adding strength, but you're not taking much away, if any. So if you're scared to do this, the improvement in ride is usually worth it. And so this is kind of a video to give you a little push to maybe attack this job yourself with a few separate easy tools you might have at home, a grinder, a welder. I may have skipped this project a bit, made it a little easier on myself. So is what I did is, this is my template, and you can see it's not really thick, but it's pretty sturdy. It doesn't distort easy, so it's easy to copy. You can take this template, lay it on a piece of 1/4-inch plate, trace it out, cut it with your grinder, your torch, whatever you wanted to do. I may have cheated this process a bit because I have a friend with a Torchmate machine, and took him this template that he scanned, and he went ahead and made me in 1/4-inch plate. So as you can see, it literally is a spitting image of that plate. So getting it all to fit back in there, no problem. So there'll be minimum grinding and fitting. So what I also do with this is I don't just plate it on the outside and call it done after I've cut away the frame rail. Is what we'll do, just like manufacturers of these C-notch kits do, is they'll plate them along the bottom and through the opening, so you add a bunch of strength back. And so since I know my frame rail is 3 inches wide, my buddy with the Torchmate also cut me a plate so I can just make all the pieces to go inside and weld them myself to make this nice C-notch plate. So I cheated a little bit, but for you guys at home, you can, if you want to spend the time, this is something you can do with a grinder, saw, or a torch, or a plasma cutter yourself, and probably save a few bucks over paying somebody. But at this point, for interest of getting it done quickly for this video, I just had it cut out for me for both sides. So one thing guys are scared of when you cut the frame, that it's going to have a sag issue or something like that. What you probably want to do is you're probably not going to be on, you might not be on a lift like me, but since I will be, my precaution is I'll take a screw jack and put it under that rail once I start to cut this, just to make sure nothing sags. This truck has brand new body mounts throughout. Everything's good and tight. Nothing's going to move or give issue here. Cutting that frame out, I'm not going to do both sides. I just do them one at a time, just in case, you know, we don't want any weird warpage or any issues to crop up. But you know, if your truck is sitting at home and you've got the wheels off of it and you got jack stands, you know, under the frame rail and under the back, you're going to be fine. It's not going to move around or give you any issues. So let me prep this piece, get it all tacked up, and we'll bring you back to see what this piece looks like, and then we'll break out the grinder and cut that frame. Alright, so I went and cut down all that long plate, kind of fit it all up just to give you an idea what it looked like. At this point I've fitted up to the truck. I'm pretty happy, so I'm ready to start cutting that frame rail. Before I do, I just figured I'd show you guys this not fully welded yet plate. So again, this is all 1/4 inch, pretty overkill, seeing that the frame's 3/16, but I know a lot of the aftermarket ones that you buy are actually 1/4 inch plate too, so I just figured that was easy to do. You can kind of see the back. It's all nice and fitted up. Again, we'll fire up the welder and make it all one piece, but I figured I'd show you guys this before I moved on. Alright, so we're now down to the point where we're cutting the frame. So what I usually do, I was going to break out the plasma cutter and do this for you, but I realized some of you guys probably don't have plasma cutters, so I use a Sawzall. You could use a cutoff disc, an angle grinder with like a cutoff disc on it. It really doesn't matter. I went ahead and laid out a welding blanket just to protect everything from some of the sparks, because when I get to this top cut, I'll actually use the angle grinder and at least cut the slit in it so I can finish it with the Sawzall. But one thing you might want to do is you can always open these up, so I don't try to get too crazy with the first cut, because I can come back with the grinder and grind those flat edges back and make it all fit nice. I haven't fully welded the boxing plate yet, just to make sure that I like how everything fits, because sometimes these rails aren't perfectly straight. They're not a perfect 90 to each other. So before I weld those in solid, I want to make sure that the plate fits flush, so when I clamp it on to weld it for its final time, everything's going to give me a nice, good, close weld between the two pieces of metal. And that's literally it. You can't really see it because it's in the picture, but there's a screw jack on the back frame rail holding this thing up. I'm going to grab the Sawzall. I'm going to cut these up, and then we'll break out the cutting wheel. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. I might be in the way, but we'll see what it looks like. And we'll keep on rolling. Caution. So you can see here, I've got the plate all fitting nice. Fits down the bottom of the rail real nice. Fits all along the top. Everything is looking good. Little gap there, but I think that's just from my clamping. I'm pretty sure that, there it goes, see? Still nice. Yeah, everything's fitting up good. So at this point, I'm just going to slide that plate out of there, fully weld in all the plates that I added underneath in the C-notch. I won't weld them on the back, because if you do, then you'd have to cut the notch bigger in the frame to clear the welds. But this is 1/4" plate, one side welded, plenty. It's not going to go anywhere, it's not going to break. So let me finish up that boxing plate. Alright, so here we are. There's the plates all welded out. Again, I didn't weld them, just a little warm, so I didn't weld them on the inside and had no plans to. I may weld this section where it touches the frame on the inside here. Obviously I'm going to weld here, 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 up the sides, a few across the top. I'm not going to weld that fully, just a few like 3 or 4 inch welds across the top. So we still want the frame to be able to flex a little bit. Otherwise sometimes, well, I won't say sometimes, I have heard that if you weld them full all the way around, they might crack the frame at some point. I've never experienced that. So you kind of see, hard to tell. There's a hole I put in there for the bump stop. Only ground one weld that got a little tall. Other than that, that thing is ready to clamp to the frame, tack weld in, and I'll bring you back. Alright, here we are, all fitted up, all welded together. At this point, we are ready to roll the welder over here and permanently attach this thing to the chassis. It looks pretty good. I'm really happy with it. Hopefully this gives you guys a little idea what it takes to you know, make your own custom C-notch. You know, in places where maybe there's not a kit, you got something different, you're building something different and cool that they just, you know, there's no aftermarket support, it's not a Ford, Chevy, maybe it's a Dodge, you know, Studebaker, something cool, even cooler than this, where you need something custom. So let me fire up the welder and we'll bring it back. Alright guys, so here's the passenger side. Figured the light was a little better over here, just so you can see really what it looked like. Welds are pretty decent, but hopefully this will help you guys, you know, if you're looking to figure out how to C-notch something that doesn't, there's a kit, not a kit offered for it. Maybe you don't want to just go buy something universal, you want something custom that looks like it fits the truck. This video should help you out. So Thanks again for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Rock Apes How To's.